Thanks for joining us. In 1 week, a controversial police shooting will be put under the microscope.
In July, police shot to death Eric Scott in front of a Summerlin Costco. Today, the attorney for his family, Ross Goodman, sent a letter to the judge presiding over the inquest. In that letter, Goodman asks for the judge to set a hearing to hand over the evidence in the case to the Scott family. He argues the family will have no way to ask meaningful questions at the coroner's inquest next week without seeing that evidence. Representative for the Justice Court tells the I-Team its staff attorney, not the judge, is drafting a response to that request. The court points out it does not have any evidence and serves primarily as host to the coroner's proceedings. That response expected to go out by the end of the week.
A recent 8 News Now Review Journal poll suggests the majority of Southern Nevadans don't have much faith in the coroner's inquest process. And as a result, local leaders are talking reform. But it's not the first time. I-Team reporter Colleen McCarty is here with the story.
All right, we've been down this road before, right?
Yes.
In 2006, the controversial shooting death of a 17-year-old murder suspect led to a formal review of the coroner's inquest process. Recommendations were made, public hearings were held, and changes were implemented. But in the words of one of the participants, if we're still talking about it, the reform fell short. May 2006, Metro police officers shoot and kill 17-year-old murder suspect Suave Lopez as he attempts to escape from a squad car in handcuffs. His death, found justified by a coroner's jury, prompts a formal review of the inquest process.
The controversy, if anything, has increased, not diminished.
Alan Lichtenstein with the American Civil Liberties Union served on the working group assembled later that year by the Clark County Commission.
I think that the failure of the modest, if you want to call that, changes that were made before, and the fact that we're still having these particular problems hopefully will lead to the kind of meaningful change that we should have had back then.
The committee, made up of representatives from Metro, the District Attorney's Office, and other primarily government stakeholders, presented 3 recommendations to county commissioners that were later approved. The most significant, replacing appointed hearing masters with elected justices of the peace. While Lichtenstein agreed with the move, he insists the overall effort fell short of meaningful reform.
I think on the part of the governmental officials who were there was this idea that it might need a little bit of tinkering, but basically no real problem. And we saw it differently.
The ACLU and the NAACP lobbied to give the families of the deceased a voice in the inquest process. Currently, families and their attorneys may only submit written questions to the presiding justice of the peace for review.
I don't think it's all the way there.
In former Clark County Sheriff Bill Young, the minority opinion found an unexpected ally. Young left the working group prior to completion, however, when he left office in 2007.
A lot of the cops are going to kill me, but I said this then, I'll say it now. I think that it needs a little bit more, I don't know if adversarialness is the right term, but I think that the family members of the deceased need a better opportunity to ask direct questions.
Young advocates a process that would allow families, through an attorney, to question witnesses, including police officers, provided the questions receive prior approval from the court. He cautions against reforms that would jeopardize the rights of police officers, but he, like Lichtenstein, suggests a balance is attainable.
We want a process that we can all believe in, and I'm not sure we're there yet.
The coroner's inquest may not be perfect, but we should point out many jurisdictions don't even have a public process. Police shooting in Washoe County, for example, are reviewed privately by the district attorney. On the other end of the spectrum, Seattle allows for family involvement through an attorney. And back in 2007, 3 members of that working group went to Seattle to learn more, but the group as a whole rejected it as a viable option for Clark County. I think certainly more to come with this.
Okay, thank you, Colleen. As for the Eric Scott inquest next week, 8 News Now will air it live on our cable station 128. The hearing starts on Wednesday the 22nd and is expected to last 2 to 3 days. The inquest will also be streamed live on our website, 8newsnow.com.